After living for years outside of the US, my visit back has been a strange experience. Things felt different. The reverse culture shock is definitely real. In this video, I'm diving into 10 reverse culture shocks I've experienced since returning to the US after living in Thailand. Everything in the US is significantly more expensive compared to Thailand. I'll usually stay for 1 month in each city in Thailand. Renting a nice condo short-term averages about $700 per month. Ocean view by the beach, or in the city right in the middle of everything I like, near restaurants, cafes, all the conveniences. Renting short-term gives me the flexibility to explore different cities whenever I want. Whereas in Los Angeles, long-term rentals are more than $2,000 per month for a small apartment in the city or a little bit more room in the suburbs. Usually nothing of interest is in walking distance. Grocery prices, utilities, insurance, healthcare, entertainment costs are out of control in the US. I got a little bit of groceries at a Walmart to make my own salads, with a whole roasted chicken, cheese, olives, and dressing. It came to almost $50, which should last about 6 meals. In Thailand, I can go to a salad restaurant where my favorite salads are about $4 each, less than half the cost, and from a restaurant. The food. In Thailand, a hot meal is just a few steps away on the sidewalk in a local food court or night market. In the US, your options are fast food, an expensive meal in a restaurant, or cooking at home, which still can be much more than grabbing a meal almost anywhere in Thailand. The street food and night market culture is one of the best things about Thailand. You can get an affordable, fresh, and delicious meal within minutes, not to mention the variety of food available. There's not really anything like a night market in the US, maybe a food court at the mall, or some local festivals where they'll have food booths. But the Thai night market is a special place, delicious, affordable, and there every night. One of my favorite Thai meals is pad krapao musap, ground pork with Thai basil and peppers over rice. Usually it's $1.50 to $2.50 depending where you go. I'll add on $1 to $1.50 mango smoothie and I'm full and happy. Thai meals are light and the portions are small. I used to order 2 main dishes for each meal until my stomach adjusted to the Thai way of life. I also love going to the fruit markets, buying as much watermelon, mangoes, dragon fruit, and bananas that I can carry. Usually I spend no more than $10 for around 25 pounds of fruit. Tipping culture. In Thailand, tipping is so much different. No tipping, 20 baht, which is 68 cents, or leaving just the change is the norm. In the US, tipping is out of control. 20, 25, 30% for servers. The cashier flipping the screen to you asking for a tip when you're buying at the counter. When I first went to Thailand, I would leave a 15% tip after a meal. My friend who's lived there for years scolded me and said, only leave 20 baht, 68 cents. That's the custom here. They don't want the restaurant industry to be Americanized and expect 15 to 30% tip. I still feel like I'm being cheap leaving only 20 baht, but it's normal for the locals, so I just have to get used to it. Fast-paced lifestyle. Thailand's sabay lifestyle feels like a breath of fresh air. There's no rush to get somewhere, get something done. It's like island time, but not as bad since things do eventually get done when needed. In the US, it's all go, 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 fast-paced. Everything needs to be done right away. After living in Mexico for 4 years, I really learned how to slow down. My stress level has decreased so much, I'm not too concerned with everything being done right away. In Thailand, it's not as slow as Mexico, but still a much slower pace than the US. My average day, I'll wake up, go to a nearby cafe for a coffee, take my time, then head to lunch at a local restaurant, have a nice meal and fresh fruit smoothie, maybe take a nap, watch some TV, have a relaxing evening, and repeat the next day. Everything feels so rushed and hurried in the US. I can just sit back and watch everyone running around, remembering that I was like that just a few years ago. Dependence on cars. Thailand's scooters, tuk-tuks, songtaos, and Thailand's Uber, which is Grab, are quick, cheap, and fun. Growing up in the huge car culture of LA, I've always loved my cars, but driving got more and more frustrating over the years. Now I never drive and it's such a relief. No parking, car payment, insurance, or worrying about driving in traffic. It did take me years to get used to not driving, but now I really enjoy letting others take me where I need to go. I also save a lot not owning a car. Staying at my dad's house in Southern California, I'm reminded how dependent on cars we are here. There's nothing within walking distance to eat or shop. You need a car to go anywhere. Mall culture. Malls in the US are closing at record rates. Major retailers are going out of business, and some are leaving big cities due to constant shoplifting. They're even turning dying malls into apartment buildings, trying to make use of all the empty stores with a few shops, cafes, and restaurants that are still just barely surviving. In Thailand, malls are a huge part of the culture. Many cities, even small ones, have at least one mall full of shops, restaurants, cafes, theaters, banks, even your daily needs like barbers, cleaners, printing shops. Some of my favorite restaurants are in the malls. There's amazing Japanese food, Korean barbecue, hot pot, American food, and much more. All of the malls also have a local food court where the prices are very inexpensive. You'll see so many locals eating here, so you know it's delicious and a good deal. I like going to the malls when it's too hot to walk outdoors, do some shopping, have a good meal, and enjoy the air conditioning. Strict rules. In Thailand, life feels flexible. Rules bend to fit the situation. Certain things you'll want to make sure to follow, like helmets when driving a scooter and no illegal drugs. But otherwise, it's a pretty laid-back culture. In the US, we've grown to fear the police, don't do anything wrong, or it could be a costly ticket or worse. There are rules and regulations for everything. Many times, too many rules or too strict. In Thailand, drivers don't obey any laws, it seems. Drivers go through red lights, drive on the wrong side of the street. You'll see a family of 4 on a motorbike or 10-year-old kids driving. It's kind of a controlled chaos, but it seems to work for them. Healthcare. Thailand has state-of-the-art private hospitals that cost a fraction of similar care in the US. Healthcare costs in the US are some of the most expensive in the world, where a good percentage of citizens can't afford basic healthcare. Seeing a dentist in Thailand is so much cheaper, as well as other medical procedures. I had a crown fall out last week and the dentist put it back in, took x-rays, all for about $25 US. A new crown would have been around $500, so much less than in the US. Don't even get me started on drug costs. It's so much cheaper to buy medication in pharmacies in Thailand, and easier to get prescription medications without needing a doctor to call it in or write a prescription. In the cities, there's pharmacies on almost every block, so convenient and inexpensive. Safety. For the most part, Thailand is a very safe country. Crime is minimal, violent crime is rare. Crime rates vary depending on the size of the city, but overall it's way safer than the US. The US is out of control when it comes to crime. You always have to be on guard, watch your belongings and surroundings. I feel so much safer anywhere in Thailand than I do in the US. It's very refreshing not to have to be concerned with getting robbed, attacked, or shot at any time. The only time I felt I had to be careful was late at night walking down a dark street back to my hotel in Bangkok, but it was actually completely safe. At a cafe, people will leave their laptops and phones on the table, walk away to use a restroom or order something at the counter, and it's completely safe. If you leave anything unattended in the US, it'll be gone in seconds. Racism. I've not experienced racism in Thailand, although most locals think I'm Thai, or at least speak to me in Thai. But I haven't seen or heard about racism toward other ethnicities, other than some stereotypical complaints from a few locals. Racism in the US is getting worse and worse. As a Japanese American, I've grown up with racism, even in Southern California, which is a very diverse area. During the pandemic, being any type of Asian could be enough to get you attacked on the street. And it's worse for other ethnicities, even deadly sometimes. In Thailand, there seems to be very little danger from racism. Maybe some stares or questions from curious locals. Maybe I just haven't seen or experienced it in Thailand, but it feels like it is much better there than in the US. Traveling back to the US to visit after spending so much time in Thailand is quite a shock. It makes me realize how very different both places are. I lived most of my life in the US, but after spending 4 years in Mexico and the past year and a half in Southeast Asia, I know for sure that I don't want to live in the US anymore. What reverse culture shocks have you experienced? Share in the comments below.